What were some of the things in the process of this 4 years of research, this intensive research that you did? And as you said, it sounds like, you know, you were really holding this research in your body. It was making you sick. It was moving through you, not just in the brain, where we can think that historical research happens only in the brain or the intellectual, the mind, but it was in your body and soul. What were some of the pieces that surprised you, that disturbed you? What were some of the nuggets along the way that really impacted?
Many things horrified me. One thing that I could not get over was the fact that you would give birth to a child, to your baby. It wasn't yours. The master could take it away and give it away immediately. There was the code noir, that it was a set of rules or norms that supposedly the masters should respect. Nobody did. So you could not separate the mother from the child until the child was 7 years old. But nobody respected that. They sold the children. They would punish the children. They would rape the little girls. And you couldn't do anything to protect your own children. They would separate the families. They would bring skulls to the plantation to impregnate the women. Because it was just unbelievable, the whole thing. So the horrors that people can do to other people when they have power and impunity is unbelievable. And it's not, of course, slavery is the worst circumstance, but in many other circumstances. For example, in my country, in Chile, there was a military coup, and you had a torture center or a concentration camp. And what the guards could do to the prisoners, they could do whatever they wanted. They were not accountable. There was freedom to do whatever they wanted, no accountability, and power.
Yeah.
And you become a beast. And I've always asked myself, what person would I be? What monster would I become if I had power and impunity? God forbid. I hope I will never have that. I've been very lucky. So that was one thing that was horrible. And there were wonderful things.
That's one.
Voodoo.
That's the next thing I wanted to talk about, actually. Can you say more?
The slaves were, first of all, the slaves were taken in Africa by other African people. And they were sold usually to Arab groups or directly and they were taken to the coast where they would be sold to Portuguese or Spanish or French dealers who would bring them in those horrible ships with gold heard from. And they would bring them, in this case, to Haiti. These people came from different parts of Africa, so they didn't share a language. Many were Muslim, many were animists. They had different religions, different races, but the whites didn't recognize that they were different people. They just bunched them all together. But then, when they got to the port where they would be sold, first of all, they were baptized, and that was all the Christianity they would get. Forced to be baptized, and then sold. And the people who bought the slaves would try never to buy slaves that were a family, or a group, or a tribe. So they would try to separate them, because if you had a group, it was much more difficult to handle. It was much easier to break a slave that was alone, that had been separated from everything that was familiar. So there you have a plantation with, let's say, 300 slaves in the fields. And you have 10 languages, different races, different religions. And they adopted the French of the masters, but they changed it on purpose to create a code, a language that was coded that the whites did not understand. So when you hear people in Haiti talk Haitian, it's a kind of French that the French cannot understand today. And at the time they couldn't either. And
that's an incredible survival adaptation.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And then they somehow blended all the beliefs into one belief. And this one belief is voodoo. That we know the voodoo of Hollywood, and we have no respect for it. but it is an extraordinary religion created in a moment of great despair. And it brings in all the wonder of Africa and brings part of Christianity and much of the Muslim world too. But it is unique. It has one God only, Papa Bon Dieu, that is Good Father, that is up in heaven. And then there are the laws. The laws are intermediaries between God and people. And the God, these laws, or gods, little gods, have different specialties. They specialize in different things. One is for death, one is for fertility. The animist world is there also because everything is animated by spirit. Every rock, every shell has a spirit. And then there is the belief that when you die, and they died all the time, when you die, you go to the island beneath the sea. And in the island beneath the sea are the spirits that will eventually go to Africa, go back to Africa. Why the island beneath the sea? Because they had come in the bowels of the ships by sea. Many of them had never seen the ocean before. So the only way that they could think of going back to the land they had left was by going into the island beneath the sea. That's the title of the book.
When did you know that that was the title? Did that come to you along the way, or was it you found out about that? You said, oh, Island Beneath the Sea.
Yeah, I found out, but it was not at the beginning. Not at the beginning.
You just got
I never know the title, but something along the way gives you the title.
Mm.
And so this religion united the slaves, and these people were totally disempowered. But in the ceremonies, in the voodoo ceremonies, what is the ceremony? There are no priests. There are no intermediaries between the divine and each person. So you would dance, and the drumming would make most of them fall in a trance. And in the trance, the Loa would come and possess you. And I have seen this happen. And they possess, you are mounted by the god. Let's say that you are a young 24-year-old woman, and you are mounted by Legbe, who is the Loa of death. And he's a crooked old man. And immediately the woman is transformed into this crooked old man, and for as long as she's possessed, she is the Loa. Now, why is this so important from a psychological point of view? Because these disempowered people, for a brief moment, were gods. They were the Loas for a moment. And that would give them an incredible spiritual strength. So when Napoleon comes with 30,000 troops and invades the island, he's confronted by naked slaves who think that they are possessed by the Loas. They have superhuman powers. They know that 10,000 souls from the island beneath the sea will come to fight with them, with each one of them. And there's such incredible strength and courage in them that there's a point when the French troops believe it too. They start believing that there are spirits fighting against them. And then the other thing that happens that is incredible is that they think that the armies of the spirits come in the form of mosquitoes. And the mosquitoes bite the French, and there's malaria all over, and half the army dies in less than a month. So isn't that something unexpectable?
Right. Yeah. I think that's one of the really unique and beautiful things about this book, is its approach to the sacred deities of Muri, to the Loa, to Voodoo. Because, as you said, in Hollywood we get such a different picture.
Yeah,
I think in a lot of literature too. We've all seen it, the sort of malevolent, bad, negative voodoo picture. It's often a person of African descent, and it's negative. It's in the telenovelas, it's up and down. That is very different from the Loa as empowering force. We also have other traditions in the African diaspora, like Orisha traditions.
It's the same. The
Cuba
Orisha
and Brazil,
yeah.
and all the, Candomblé and Umbanda and Santeria and many other traditions that are sources of strength and beauty and power
Yeah.
and spirit, and that often does not make it into literature. And I think that's something that was really powerful in this book. There's a wonderful scene where Erzuli possesses Sarite, and she's sort of walking down the road. She's, it's just sort of something that happens. And it's so beautiful, and I have to say that when I read the review of this book in the New York Times, and full disclosure, I should say, I reviewed this book for the San Francisco Chronicle, and so I had this, one of the things that I said was how wonderful it was that the Zoll were treated with such respect and knowledge.